You're trying to look like someone there, aren't you?
No. No. Who?
Your character looks like the little woman in The Incredibles.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I can see that. I never once tweaked that. To be honest, the glasses were an accident. They were just like, I accidentally equipped them, and then when I unequipped, I saw them, and I was like, yeah, I'll keep those.
Got it.
And they've remained. And I'm one of those people I refuse to put on a helmet, so she is constantly
getting shot
vulnerable in the head.
Yeah.
If you put on a helmet, she looks crappy. I don't know, I should probably check. I don't know if there's a Mass Effect style setting where you can just turn the helmet off but still equip them.
But still have the...
Because Mass Effect has that, but I didn't.
Not many games. It's not, especially for Bethesda, that's not normal. But when you're talking to the guy who would deliberately wear worse armour during the Battle of Bruma on Oblivion, so that when they build the statue of you, it would be wearing that armour.
Yes. Well, that's the perfect anecdote. Luke Fitchett, we're here to look at Fallout the 4th. I've dragged you along here because I've been reviewing this game for... This save is at about 50 hours.
Jesus,
I have a Bethesda were very good, actually. They got it out really early, which is really nice. I have a save that's a bit further along, but this is... There's less dangerous spoiler territory in this save, which is why I booted it up for capturing video. So that goes to everybody at home too. Bethesda have asked us not to spoil everything, so we won't. But I figure you know what Fallout fans are interested in, what Bethesda game fans are interested in, so you
I'd
can
like to think so.
ask about stuff and hear about stuff and all that sort of stuff, and see what you want, see what you fancy hearing about. So this is... What is this place called? This place is called Starlight Drive-In, and this is one of a few settlements. There's more than 10, put it that way. How did you get up there? Okay. There's lots of settlements in the game. The settlements are something they showed off a lot at E3 when they first showed the game. And as I was saying to you earlier, it's a pretty big part of this game, this whole Minecraft-esque building and adjusting things.
So when you say there's 10 settlements, do you mean there are 10 places you can build those?
So we'll come back to this because I haven't got much material here, so I can't show you much building, but you see how when I've gone into this mode there's a green border all the way around this?
Yeah.
That is the area in which I can build.
Got you.
Within that area, that is this Starlight Drive-In,
yeah.
And if I go outside that, I will immediately exit this mode and I can't place stuff outside it.
So what you're saying, when you say there's 10, there are 10 areas like that
like
in which you can build.
If I go to the map, so like there's one there, here's where I am here, but there's also, say, one over here, the airport's one, that's one there, there's one up here somewhere, there.
So would you say this is quite a significant part of the game then?
It's yes and no, because it's entirely optional. It's entirely optional, but I found it to be a significant part of the game for me. I think if you wanted to ignore it, you could very well. But the thing that I liked about it, and the thing that I say in the review, is it makes me actually act much more like a scavenger in the post-apocalypse, because I become so interested in trying to build these communities that I go out and
look for certain materials.
Yes, yeah. And that comes on to the other thing. There's no such thing as useless material in this game anymore. So for instance, you see I'm carrying a whole lot of crap here. I'm carrying things like a ladle, and an IV bag, and a hairbrush. You see there underneath, a hairbrush is worth 2 plastic.
Oh, right.
An IV bag is worth 1 plastic.
So this is what you were doing, as in breaking stuff down?
Yes. So a screwdriver is worth 2 steel. Steel, silver, steel, lots of steel here. Antiseptic adhesive, wood. And all that you can then put into it. And to be honest, this is as good a time as any, because we'll go off and look at combat and stuff, but I have some stuff I want to do anyway. So over here is where you've got all your upgrades and all that sort of stuff. So let's start with cooking, just check if I've got anything. Yeah, so I've got some animal meat. So I can... Obviously, that stuff will always... If you were to just eat raw bloat-fry meat, you would get stuff out of it, but you would also get rads and stuff. Yeah. Cooking stuff always removes that, so it's always good to sort of...
Which this pre-existed in Fallout.
Yeah. I just feel like these menus are much nicer, and...
I think the whole thing looks smoother, to be honest.
Easier.
Especially... I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved Fallout 3 and New Vegas. but I love the way this one looks.
It's much more colourful. It's good that I've done that because you never know. I might, in fact, just to try and avoid an unexpected death, let's get rid of some of my reds.
You see, stupid little thing like that. The fact that your character's hand is actually moving on the Pip-Boy.
Ah, yeah.
I like that.
See, I would barely even notice that. That's the funny thing, because it's been that long since I played 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the weapon customization, for instance. So if I go into the Righteous Authority, which is it's something you get in the story, you can see if I go down here now, here's all the different things. You can see the impact it's having. So really what I want is I want the overcharge capacitor, because all it does is increase my damage and, okay, my weight goes up, but whatever. Whereas other things change it in other ways, so that's like giving it, more range but less damage and so on and so forth. And you can see down the side all the stuff that this requires. So it needs adhesive, it needs circuitry, it needs crystal, it needs and all this comes from the junk in the game. So yeah, and the same thing for, like, it's easy to turn. This is basically I'd call it a laser combat rifle, I guess. But if I wanted to, I could bang that sniper barrel on it and it would immediately begin to perform like a sniper rifle. Although weirdly, the fire rate doesn't change, just the range goes way up. That's interesting. Maybe I'll have to look into that. So there's all that sort of stuff, and that basically plays into whatever it is you want to do. Same is true of everything, different things, like you can, if you really want, you can put a bayonet on a rocket launcher, which this one has actually, and to be honest, I think that's useless, and the weight goes down if you remove it, so I'm going to remove it. I absolutely love this gun. This is a gun that I put together pretty much entirely on here, and it's quite heavy, but it is the most ridiculous shotgun going. It's stupid. So that's sort of how the weapon customization pans out.
Instantly straight away, I'd say customization is a lot better.
I think it's the best it's been. It's a bit less so on armor. Armor, there's always less options. Armor, it's mostly just the 2 options. And armor sort of has that same thing going on where you can see on the character she's got the Vault jumpsuit, which she started with underneath, and then combat armor on top of that. And then there are things you can equip that are just all in one. You
equip like leather armor, yeah.
Yeah, but I've found them to be less effective, to be honest. And also, people tend to react to the Vault jumpsuit in dialogue and stuff like that, which is weird and fun.
Remember the last time.
So that's what that stuff looks like. I'm trying to think if there's any changes actually worth making. Maybe I'll, for the sake of, okay, we got barrel sights. So the accuracy of this now is 77. If I put that sniper barrel on it, it goes down to 73. But the fire rate remains the same, and it does a hell of a lot more damage.
Yeah,
so maybe I'll
jump in.
So you can see here when I press X on this now. PlayStation 4 version, by the way, if you didn't notice. It's telling you what stuff's coming from you, so you can see in my inventory, it's taking the gold, it's taking the Wonder Glue for the adhesive, and so on and so forth. And that's done. And then we'll look at this, I guess. So this is how you can obviously go into the Pip-Boy and do this, but this is your quick weapon change. So this is just on the D-pad. You can have up to 3 things on each side. So for instance, I've got a stim pack on down, which if I'm hurt in combat, I can just do that. So there, I've got my shotgun over here. I've got my 3 long-range weapons of sorts over here, where I've got that, the actual sniper rifle, which is a beast, and missile launcher.
Your bayoneted missile launcher.
No longer bayoneted. And then over here I've got a pistol, a combat rifle, and basically an assault rifle that's kind of crappy, but it has a really fast rate of fire.
Does the job, yeah.
See, also, I've had this in third person this whole time, and it's worth saying third person's pretty good in this game. Like,
I've always, with Bethesda games in general, I've always found I don't play in third person. I generally tend to stick to entirely first person.
I'm not going to say this feels as good as something like, say, Mass Effect, but it's definitely it definitely feels more like a proper third-person shooter. Obviously, you've still got VATs and stuff, and we'll see that in a second when we go off to shoot some guys. But it works pretty well, I think. Now, the question is... See, I've saved a few things here. Perfect. Okay, that's not even that far. So we'll fast travel over to a different settlement. You can obviously fast travel anywhere, but the settlements are a nice place to fast travel because they're a safe haven. You're not going to spawn in and have 6 super mutants around, which happened to me earlier. And one of them was the suicide ones where they just have a nuke attached to them and just run up to you and explode.
Jesus.
So, fun. But the mission I've just selected is, I don't know because I haven't done it, but I think it's a side thing, so it's not story, but I think it's to unlock another...
settlement?
Another new settlement, which usually involves going and taking on some raids of some sort, so there'll probably be a bit of... But, you can get a nice idea here of what this version of the Wasteland looks like. It's a lot more colourful.
First thing I noticed then was that it is, as you say, it is a lot more colourful than the last ones. But I like that. I mean, that's personal opinion, but I really like that. I think this game looks really nice.
I thought Fallout 3 was a bit too brown, and there is a lot of brown here. And I think I don't quite like how the game often looks at night. It often is a bit too dark and boring. But I think on the whole, it's a way better looking game than before. And I think the thing that people need to bear in mind, there's been a lot of talk online, because first they did a weird thing with this game when they were promoting it, which was just that they didn't really promote it. They showed it at E3 and then were like, we'll see you guys in November sort of thing.
Yeah.
When we received it, this was the first time that any press laid hands on it, when we got retail code, which is unheard of. But because of that, a lot of people were wary, and then when we started to get some leaks and stuff this week from people who got the game early, a lot of people were saying that it looks really bad. But the thing I'd say is, when you consider stuff, like when you consider that you're able to build stuff in that way and the game saves it and streams it in real time, I will take that sort of trade-off, personally. So this guy's obviously the boss of this.
That's close enough. Not that you could get much closer without being a space invader.
So here's the dialogue system. They've obviously cribbed a bit from BioWare here. So you've got different attitudes. You can have a different approach.
Do you have anything to trade?
You looking to trade, you can talk to my wife.
So that's sort of...
But be warned, you try anything?
The voice actor sounds really familiar, but I don't know who it is.
Let me tell you.
So these guys are probably going to ask for something, and in return we'll hopefully be able to get them to join our cause as far as settlements and stuff go.
Fireman's hard work.
So it's nice, I think you look at this, and in terms of I don't think you've played this game, but versus something like Dragon Age Inquisition.
I've played Dragon Age.
Oh, okay. That game is a nice evolution on what BioWare were doing with Mass Effect and Dragon Age in the last console generation, and in that game, stuff like people talking and conversations looks a lot more dynamic. This is not like that. This is like how it was in Mass Effect 2 and 3.
Bastards. All of them.
But,
now, only now, I never would have said this before I'd seen Fallout 4, but only now will I say, looking back, the conversations in New Vegas and 3 look very clunky compared to this one.
Yeah, and I think, obviously, New Vegas a lot of people really love, and a lot of people really love the writing in that game.
Yeah.
But
there's nothing worse than losing
it's about...
Believe me, I know.
It must be a terrible feeling.
That doesn't happen very often. The companion character chips in.
Those raiders that killed Mary.
Okay, so this is what's going on. He's going to ask us to go and kill those raiders, obviously.
Might not.
Get it back.
Please.
Don't worry. I'll get that locket back for you.
Good.
So you can see here, just on... You can see it just out of frame. You can see just out of frame here, that's the workshop bench.
Look alive.
You point, I shoot.
That you would use to build around this place. But as it stands now, because they're not allied with us yet, I can't use that. But you can see there's all this here, and this would prove a very fruitful starting point to turn into something else. And also you can see here they've got a lot of food because it's a farm, and you can also set up traders between your
own settlements.
Yes. So if you've got a place that's got a lot of food, real quickly I'm just going to whip up some drugs in case I need them, but chances are I'm not actually going to use them because, and this is a good segue into talking about this, the companion I'm with doesn't like drugs.
Alright.
So, you know, they have that sort of reactionary system of, oh, they like that, they don't like this.
No, that must be new to this one because I don't recall that. In any of the
See,
others.
I don't remember if it was in the previous ones or not, but basically, you know, it's very much Mass Effect or even Telltale style stuff. So, for instance, there's another companion who I really like, who's called Piper, and she's an investigative journalist type, and she's just a troublemaker, and in her own town a lot of people dislike her because the stories she prints just cause trouble, even though she's pointing out things that are wrong with the settlement. She's pointing out that there's holes in the wall and stuff like that. And she actually, because of that's her attitude, she doesn't particularly... She will fight, and she does well, but she's not particularly interested in blasting raiders. She's far more interested in sort of trying to resolve things more peacefully, and she likes stuff like picking locks and stuff. So every time I picked a lock when I was in her company, you know, it would be like, oh, she likes that.
Not shooting.
So she... Ooh.
Now that's pretty cool. 'Cause that's a new animal.
Well, I've had this before, but the big thing about these, the reason why I went ooh, is because actually no, I'm gonna.
That's a hideous animal, isn't it?
These things. No, it must have been at that level. The meat off those, when you cook them, the thing it produces. This is the one thing about. Why won't it let me get weird? The loot it produces gives you, when you cook it, it gives you plus 25 carry weight, which is really useful. So that's what I was like, I must kill that and fast. So, but yeah, what was I saying? I was saying about Piper. So she likes when you pick locks and stuff like that. She reacts to that. This guy is a Brotherhood of Steel guy, and he's all he's sort of, you know. These guys are just probably really low level, so it's not going to be. But hopefully, when we get to the actual thing, it'll be more of a challenge. If not, we'll do something else. But he's more like sort of from the same school of thinking as your brother. He likes everything to be righteous and that sort of thing, and he doesn't like drugs as a result.
He wears blue and does self the stage, for instance.
Yeah, and he's got an itchy trigger finger as well. Like, he's not as interested in diplomatic solutions. He would rather
He will just blast his way through
there be a fight. Yeah.
But so definitely. So
Yeah. See, I've never been to this little bit of the map before, so all this is... Oh, there's another one. Am I a complete bastard?
Didn't even react to your first shot.
Time. I think you're supposed to aim for the head, so you can. Ooh, huh. We'll let that one live. Oh no, we won't. Oh my god! Wow, that was not. That was unexpected. So this is weird. See, I've never discovered this before, but we got a little crashed ship here and some, and I suppose we may as well use this. So obviously limited power sources for these things. Obviously you can find them and buy them all over the place, but the point is you can't use it forever.
That's pretty cool. I like that. Think about the power armor in... I don't think in New Vegas ever used any actually, but in Fallout 3, which was a lot more focused on the Brotherhood of Steel,
yeah,
the power armor was just more armor. It was just another. You needed a perk to wear it, but it was just another set of armor that you could put on and wear as armor. Whereas this seems very much more like.
It's. I think if you. Jesus. Oh, come on. I think if you wanted to. you could absolutely use the armor as your standard armor, but you would be spending a lot. You would have less to spend on weapons or anything like that as a result. Yeah. See if we can blow this person's head off. Didn't even need to. But yeah, I mean, it's the Brotherhood of Steel is, it's worth saying, it's still a pretty big part of this game. In my experience, without getting into any story stuff, the core story will lead you along a path where there's a number of different groups you can join up with. One of those is the Brotherhood of Steel. Another one of those is a group called the Underground. And basically, depending on...
That's cool.
Also, I don't think it shows when you're in the armour, but the... I'm going to get out of this and do this. But that actually gives you resources as well, which is nice. It gives you like crystal and things like that. So it's like
leaving some of that equipment behind.
Yeah, because I've just got encumbered and now I can't walk, and he's now not able to walk through the power.
Look alive.
But I can get close enough to him to do this.
Standard Bethesda. Companions are pack horses.
Yeah. So because that extinguisher just happens to be something that does contain some resources that you don't find in as many places, so it does make sense for me to bring that, as silly as it is. So this is perfect. So you can see a bit of this. This is, as I remember, you may correctly, identical. Where it's, so you select a, hopefully I don't get the right one straight away, but you select a thing. So
it tells you how many of the characters
yes,
are
likeness.
correct, yeah.
And then you can also, you can find full sets of brackets like that, and that removes dud ones.
Oh, right. So now that's new. Unless I never happen to know.
Yeah, that's the thing with these things. There's so much to these games. There's so much you don't realise. But that just makes it a little bit... Okay, it was uneasy.
I'm in.
Okay. So then, as usual, nice snippets of story in these things usually. Oftentimes you can, do what I always think of as a Bioshock thing to do, reprogram a turret. Damn. Oh, this is a nice chance for me to show off. I was talking about how I love this shotgun. What the fuck? He just legged it? That's very
It'll
rare.
reappear, no doubt.
And standard sort of stuff, standard Fallout, lots of loot.
Tired yet?
Whoa! Okay, this guy is.
Nice.
Let's try out this new barrel that we. I also grenades, obviously. So, ooh. That didn't go well.
Go
for
over
them.
the barrier.
I think he got one of them though. But yeah, I mean, the combat is. Wow, this person isn't paying attention and died before I could even shoot her. Armed with a pull cue.
Standard Fallout Riders.
The combat's pretty much the same. VATS works pretty much the same, but everything does feel tighter and better. It is okay. So here's where this is the locket that he wanted me to retrieve. Or alternatively, I could just scrap it for 2 silver.
I'm sure he'd be just as happy otherwise.
Yeah. Wow. Let's go and find something high level. Although the last time I went to find something higher level, it was full of giant killer crabs that one-shotted me, and it was a nightmare. That's worth talking about. So leveling and stuff. Bring open the perks menu. So the way this works is there are obviously the 7 categories that spell out the word special, as always in these games, and then within those categories there are 10 things beneath them. So the way this works is you can spend up to 11 points in each one, and each point you spend past the first point unlocks one of these below. So you can see here, because I've got the full number in intelligence, I can access all of these beneath, but because I only have 5 here in perception, I can only get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and the ones below are still locked. I can see what they are.
Oh, right.
So that's the way that works. So that unlocks, and that doesn't mean, just because I've got that many points, that doesn't mean I then have pickpocket. That just means I can then spend
They
a
are
point in
available
pickpocket.
to
Yes.
get, yeah. And it's not a case of having to build your way down, is it?
No, so you
can
can.
just-
So once,
yeah.
as long as you've got enough points, so to get the 4th one, you'd have to have 4 points in the intelligence at the top. And then, so like for instance,
Yeah.
yeah. So like for instance, I wanted to get to this to get more carry weight. So I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points into it to get to that. Then I bought that. I
Got
didn't
you.
have to buy heavy gunner because I very rarely use heavy guns
Got you.
on this build. And the build I've gone for is sort of good at hacking, good at picking locks, so I can hack and pick all the different types of locks. I picked that Black Widow perk, which gives 5% combat damage and persuasion damage to all men, but most of the enemies are men. So I picked that. I went deep on. Well, I'm halfway down the tree on science perks. That one I highly recommend. That basically gives you more scrap every time you scrap something.
So with the stars on each perk, is that a case of you can level that perk up further?
Yeah, so for instance, you can see here, Scrapper there's only 2 stars, that's the max level Scrapper can get to. Hacker can go to 4, Pack Horse can go to 4, Heavy Gunner can go to 5, so everyone's going to be slightly different. Obviously, that's the thing, this is a simplified system, I think, than the previous games, but when you've got 7 categories, 10 things down in each category, and some of them can level up to 4 or 5 times each, there's a lot of customization you can do.
Yeah. I think this is actually quite complex compared to the last ones, because the last ones they still have the putting attribute points on, like, let's say energy weapons or unarmed, or
you can do that. So
silenced,
for
or-
instance, Channel the Spirit of the Old West, non-automatic pistols do 20% more damage.
Ah,
So
you
that's
see.
the equivalent of that, but that when you level up, all you get is 1 skill point, and
Yeah.
you spend it on here, and that's it.
Got you. Now you see, I quite like that, because they've combined the 2 elements of levelling up from the old Bethesda games, because it used to be a case of all of your individual skills, such as small weapons, big weapons, energy weapons, unarmed, science, that used to be, right, you get 10 points to put on that, and then it was, right, now pick a perk, and the perks you just got more available to pick with each level, and they were predetermined and they just used to appear. But I like that, because then if you want a particular build, you don't have to level up to a certain level just to get that perk. If you want, you can instantly put your points on that, power towards it.
That's it.
Which
That's
I
the
think is
point.
much
And you
better.
can do that from the very start. And obviously, you get a lot of points at the start. So I leveled intelligence up most of the way before I even left the vault.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that's worth saying. A tiny bit of story background. The character you play as is not from a vault, technically. The character was pre-war. And when you go in, and the opening of the game is pre-war. And when you go into the vault, you're put into cryogenic storage,
Oh, right.
and then you come out like 200 years later. So what's interesting is you still have that fish out of water thing, but
Do also have the pre-war.
you have that pre-war knowledge, which is interesting. And the other thing I was going to say about perks is there are also perks based on the companions. You can see, thanks to your relationship with Kate, action points regenerate faster if your health is below 25%. There is another one where the journalist girl I was talking about earlier. Thanks to your relationship with Piper, you receive double XP for speech challenges and discovering new locations. So these are added by basically reaching the ultimate point in any relationship in the game.
Got you.
And also, it's worth noting, for those who care, there is like a sort of romance system in here as well, BioWare style. There wasn't any sort of consummation scene as you would get in Mass Effect. It was just sort of you could
that very diplomatic.
you could become a couple basically, and when you become a couple, there is a perk associated with that also, which is that if you're with them and you sleep in a location, you will get a temporary perk.
The love is embraced perk.
Yeah, which is nice. So, and also there's perks related to magazines and stuff. So I have level 2 of Junktown Vendor by picking up 2 magazines related to that, and that can go all the way up.
Oh, that's good.
and those are just scattered around the world. And good luck to people finding them because this world is ridiculously large. So there's all that.
Is the map considerably bigger than New Vegas and Fallout 3? Minus any DLC, because I know the DLC
and they say that this is a bigger map than Skyrim. I'm not sure I feel it. What I will say is there is sort of a border on the map. That isn't necessarily the end of the map, let's say.
Okay.
There are things, there are locations that might be in the air, there are locations that might be underground, and there are locations that might be actually outside of the zone that is displayed. You can't go any further north than that, for instance, but that line does not necessarily delineate the end all the way around the map.
Oh, okay.
It's only for some small things, but that is a thing that exists. Anyway, let's drop this somewhere where I can get to it again later. For now, let's just nip back to Sanctuary, and I'll just dump this power armor at Sanctuary. Because one of the nice things again about the settlement system is I've been building power armor stations in different places, and every time I get a new suit, I put it in a new settlement. So then there's one nearby in different bits of the map. This will give you a nice.
So basically, you're like a squirrel burying your acorn.
Yes, basically. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, I'll probably never use the power armor because I panic about running out of battery armor. But it's a nice thing to have, and it definitely feels better. You can see over there, by the way, see how it says core in the. You got the ammo on the far right, and then it's got core. That's the power.
That's your
charge.
power burning out. Yeah.
And obviously, it's worth pointing out there is full customization on these as well, so you can, basically go into this and change out specific bits of armor. You can have a different leg, you can have a different arm, you can craft them to give them better quality stuff and all that sort of thing. So that's all very nice. Let's find some challenging high level combat to I'm trying to we'll go and do this. Actually, this is nice because you'll get a nice glimpse at the inner city, because we've walked around a little bit of the actual more wastelandy bit, but one of the nice things about this game is it does have some actual city locations, very different from Fallout, almost narrow streets, all that sort of stuff, and strange cracking sound, narrow streets and much more difficult to fight in, depending on fighting a Deathclaw, for instance, in a narrow street environment is not easy, as it turns out. There may be a video.
Now, I think that's really good. I mean, Fallout 3, as much as I loved it, I got a bit sick of the scenario you were in, so I wasn't really that keen on Washington.
This is Boston.
Yes, this is Boston.
Yeah.
So for Fallout 3, I got a bit sick of that in the end. New Vegas I really liked, but as you say, I never really felt either of those games were populated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And from what you say here, especially with the settlements you build, the pre-existing settlements in the game, and as you say, the cities. Just on the trailer, I'm going as having not seen much of this game at all yet.
Oh,
I would say this game seems a lot more populated, which I like.
Really
It gives you the feeling that you're actually in an existing world.
Yeah.
As opposed to in a game.
Finished.
Well, because this is set a bit like there are some.
That's what I like.
Again, to
As long
be.
as the brother. If you need time to read.
These are just sort of,
I'm
I
ready.
think,
Good.
unlimited
Mark,
missions.
see you when
He just generates. I appears we've already looted that safe. But I'll walk now. I think I know where Super Duper Matt is. I'll walk now through some of the. Maybe we can get up onto a roof, because that's the other thing. There's a bit more verticality, so you can't get into every building. Obviously, the vast majority of them are boarded up, and I know that some people are going about that, which whatever. But it's the same level of buildings you can get into as, say, a GTA or something. I guess is what I would say. Which direction?
Yeah, you can't really expect a game. I mean, especially a game at the level that games are at now, to be able to populate a full city with every building as a fully furnished building.
It's one of those. I wonder when we will get there. But it's like, you know, for instance, so these buildings are all obviously boarded up and you can't get in them. But every here and there, there'll be somewhere where you can sort of just walk inside, or there'll be a lock you can pick. And there's a lot of major locations to this game as well. And there's lots of little nooks and crannies. So, for instance, this, I assume, is that I'd never discovered before. Never been directed there by a mission. So who knows what that is. Yeah, we'll wander down this main street and towards one of the main locations in the game, and the chances are we're going to run into trouble on the way anyway. And I'll just show you. So you can see here you've got an actual skyline rising out of this.
So I think that's really cool.
Which is nice. And like, for instance, I have no idea what that is there. Are there people on that?
Yeah, it's lit up. Unless I suppose that's just a lamp.
But yeah, like this, I have no idea what it is, and that was smart. It looks like we're about to find out. Because... Okay, I was just about to say, is this guy friendly? Obviously not. Nice one, missing at point blank range.
No scoped.
I don't know, I think she scopes. But, so yeah, I mean, like, this is just... Ooh.
Nice.
That's the thing. The shooting feels like true shooter shooting.
You see, I always think it's hard for a game, because not a lot of games do it really, where shooting feels like the bullets are doing damage.
Well, they've learned... You remember... this guy's quite difficult. You remember how in Mass Effect 1, you could... When your accuracy rating was low, the circle was fucking massive. And so even if you had your...
It's gun tip quite
My aim seems slightly the fact is a lot better as well, like cinematic angles and stuff like that. But yeah, they've learned that lesson, which is, you know, if you're shooting at a guy, it's gonna hit. It's not always gonna do the most damage, depending on. So this guy obviously has. I didn't actually look when I was in that, but like you can see at the top, so I can see he's got mad resistance to both nuclear and normal ballistic, I guess would be the word. So I've got this laser gun. So now you saw how little damage that pistol was doing. That's less about the pistol and more about
what his resistance is.
Look how this is Swiss cheesing him now. Although not Swiss cheesing that much for you.
So I like the idea that you can get in a firefight and you actually do have to firefight your way out of it. And I know that sounds like a really stupid comment to make, but I have found in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, you do tend to... I mean, it's very much Bethesda combat, like charging around as if you would in Skyrim, for example.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm going to have to take a drug because I don't want to drop. Oh, I'm going to have to drop some stuff. Unless he shows up. Where's he gone?
You fell off the bridge.
Well, yeah, and I don't know where he is in relation to that. But basically, the reason that guy was in power armor, and I've just stripped him of a lot of that power armor, and I can use that now. But they're really heavy. Yeah. So that sort of thing's nice, and it does. Yeah, you're right. It does feel. Wow, that is mental. Huh. Maybe I'm going to start to use this.
So when it says health there on these bits of armour, is that the state of repair of that piece of
armour? Yes, so then you take that stuff back to one of those power armour stations.
Got you.
And
incorporate it into your suit, repair it, etc.
Yeah. And basically the suit almost gets chipped away, so like if the leg takes enough damage, if people then shoot you in that leg, you have no damage protection there. That one I was wearing earlier, cat
Yeah,
meat?
there was a leg missing.
Where did I get cat meat? Oh no. See, I need stuff that will... So... that only gets moved to 325. I'm going to have to lose some stuff. Again, nice thing here, sorting. You know, it's such a small thing, but you'd be amazed how few fucking games put stuff like this
Let you
in.
actually sort your menu.
So I've, just sorted by weight there, and I'm literally just dropping the most heavy stuff until I can get to what I need to get to. Same again here, but I want to keep all that. Don't need dog collar. We want that. We need to lose a little bit more. We can lose that, and we can lose that.
There. It's enough to be working with.
So yeah, it's like I didn't know what that was, and I've got some power armor out of it.
Nice.
Things like that aren't always nice. Like trying to get out of that water, then couldn't see what the fuck I was doing.
Well,
basically.
that's just Bethesda for you, isn't it? That's just the actual design of the
Yeah, I
landscape.
guess so. But at the point, you're gonna. What I'm gonna do real briefly, and then.
But without putting the whole world on rails, it will be like that, won't it?
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Bear in mind, I'm a Bethesda fanboy, so I would say that.
Ah, wow. Okay, so what else are you curious about with this game? And I can indulge you. We got a little bit of time.
I mean, without going into story, obviously.
All I'll say about story is I think it's an interesting inversion of Fallout 3.
Okay.
Well,
the story I'll find that out.
Yeah.
On my own when I go through it. How about random exploring? Like, how is it finding locations, traversing the landscape? I mean, I know the whole Skyrim model of running sideways, jumping up a mountain.
There's less of that, but that's because I'm going to slowly crawl my way now, encumbered, towards the station to dump my crap. This is obviously a less vertical
mountain.
Yeah. So I haven't really encountered much of the having to Skyrim your way up a mountain, as they call it. What I'm gonna do? Oh, I know what I can do. Can I transfer? Yeah, and just drop in. Perfect.
So you've stored that in your power armor station.
Yeah, it's quite good about that. It lets you cheat a little bit. One thing that should make clear: these aren't universal. So whatever I put in this weapons workbench is in this weapons workbench, and fuck me if I go anywhere else. Which is kind of annoying.
Well, it's annoying, but it's realistic because
yeah.
you don't get these black hole wells where you can transfer your stuff about. Really,
no, true. And real quick, because I know it has got a roof. Just to show you here the sort of stuff that goes on. So, the sort of things you can build, power pylons, you've got lights. So, for instance, there isn't a light towards the back of this, so I can bung these in. That light, for instance, isn't lit up, you see it?
Yeah.
So, if I was to go in here, have I got enough material? Yeah, barely. So if I was to drop that there, hook that up to that, then drop that there, and hook that to that. Now, because that's close enough, I'll open it up. And some things do need to be connected directly. So, for instance, over here, there's not that. It's over here. This is the recruitment radio beacon, so that's inviting people to come and live here.
Yeah.
That has to be connected directly.
But
so you can build stuff with power and stuff like that.
Now, I didn't know about that. I didn't know you had to do the wiring yourself, and I think that's really cool. I mean, I'm very much one for realism, and I like the fact you have to do the...
It's little things, like there is a surprising sense of satisfaction to sort of throwing down little decorations, and all this stuff does have an impact. All this stuff impresses people and makes them more happy. You can put down things like plants. You can put down things like radios. You can have them tuned to specific stations. You can put down stuff like jukeboxes, which then plays out music for people. One of my other settlements has a jukebox in it. You've got a full set of furniture, chairs, containers, all this stuff loads in. Baths and things like that. And then obviously the important stuff, you can build guard posts, defences. You can build a variety of guns. Some of those are just like gas powered. You can then get electrical powered ones that are far more effective. You can get missile turrets.
So when, for example, that there says requires 2 electricity, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Not ICD, so. Would that have to be connected to the mains, and do you have a limited supply?
Yes. So, for instance, that is generating 10, and that currently is enough to power everything I need here.
Got you. So you can build more generators.
Yeah, but if I was to, generators they're just in the power menu, and they come in a variety of different sizes with different equipment requirements. There's even I've never built one of these, but there's even a windmill power one. So
that's cool.
And this, I imagine you're going to get this stuff where people do amazing shit with this, because there's stuff like conduits and the switches, and there's pressure plates and tripwires, so you could actually build.
People are going to build some mad shit. Yeah.
Contraptions. There's computers that you can program to do stuff on specific things. There's lights where you can program them to turn into different colours. So you could have a tripwire that sets off a light and makes all,
So basically what you're saying is you're going to end up with someone with a settlement that will constantly play and light up to Katy Perry's firework.
Yeah, something like yeah, on the PC version, with the mods. And yeah, I mean, you can, for instance, there is, and I've just thought of this, I hadn't thought of this before, there is a, I don't know where it is, but there is somewhere in here a thing that is an alarm, and it's got a switch on it, and when you pull the switch it makes like an air raid siren noise.
Got it.
You could set up a pressure plate at the only entrance where when somebody steps on that the alarm goes off, so the whole settlement knows that there's somebody approaching.
Oh, okay.
So
and do the NPCs actually react to the stuff you put down?
So they sit in chairs and they use stuff, and
but like the alarm, for example.
I don't know. I built the alarm in one place, but I never thought to connect it to something else before, other than just pressing it on your own. I just built it and pressed it and was like, that's cool. Yeah. What anything like? So you asked about general exploration, and we got massively sidetracked. I would say they're pretty good at that. One of the things they do that's quite nice is on the edge of the map you sort of see there's like light coloured icons, and they're small. Like you see I've got my 2 objectives there, the one that's lit up and the one that isn't. But then underneath that one in the middle now, there's like little icons of buildings and stuff. That is stuff that's nearby. And one of the things that it does that's nice, that I really appreciate, is the game doesn't hide things that you haven't yet discovered. So when you're in
that was in Skyrim.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When you're in a decent proximity, you can see that stuff and go, okay, I'm going to go and see what that icon is. And one of the ones that sticks out to me is goodbye. Thankfully, this is literally the first area you come to in the game, so all these enemies are completely gone. As demonstrated. I'm not even going to pick up their stuff because it's all going to be there is this. I mean, Skyrim had this obviously. There are some nice.
Yeah, that's really cool.
There are some nice close-up melee kills, and Skyrim had that obviously, but you can just walk up to them. The example that I think of is at one point I saw an icon and I was like, that looks like the icon for a vault.
Alright.
And it was. And when I went to that icon, I discovered another. It's a side quest thing, so I have no qualms in saying this, and people can discover it for themselves. It was a still functioning, still working vault. And I could sort of use my Pip-Boy to get in, and then everybody inside was surprised, and conversations ensued, and I got a couple of side quests out of it.
Cool.
Maybe I'll go back to that place as part of the story later on, I don't know. But, like, the concept of, like, I don't know what that icon is in the middle now.
Got it.
And I could just sort of run towards that. and it's nice for that. Like, there's a variety of different weathers. There's a really cool effect for like a nuclear storm where all the sky goes sort of green and stormy. And the one thing that annoys me also I wish I could loot stuff like this. So this is stuff where when you first arrive to a place that has a settlement, usually it's full of junk and you can scrap all that junk to give you something to start with in that settlement. But then that makes you feel like, why can't I
you do that
take
in the
that
wasteland?
bath? Because that bath's got quite a lot of ceramic to it.
But bearing in mind, how would you as a character carry that bath back?
Yeah. And you see, here we are, we're back now at, I've just walked over towards the one where we started. So, and actually, that, you know, let's just have a brief walk back towards the... No, I want to remove market. This is slightly fiddly. I don't like the map very much. I couldn't even really tell you why. I just think it's a bit rubbish.
Well, it's the same. The map remains unchanged by the looks of it. The place marker and all that is the same, where you have to press anywhere to click remove marker, and the map itself looks the same because they want to stick with the Pip-Boy aesthetic, don't they?
I guess, but elements of it. I think my main issue is the control. I expect to press L and R to zoom in and out of the map, but that actually goes back and forth, and you use the right stick. So obviously on PC that'd be a lot easier. And that's something I will say, you know, we've been testing on PS4. That's what Bethesda sent over pre-release. Hopefully either off them or just at retail we'll grab a look at the PC version. And I know that's what you're going to be playing.
Got one preloaded.
To be honest, now I've played so much of this on here, I look forward to just sort of doing that classic Bethesda thing and opening the command control and just spawning
messing
stuff.
around.
Because there's some crazy stuff I've seen, but I just wrap out by, unless you've got any specific questions, by just showing you a little bit of one of the more civilized locations in the game. Because again, because this is so much later, they do have.
Here we go. You see now, straight away, that is far more colourful than anything I've seen in New Vegas. Well, New Vegas had the lights, but Fallout 3 especially.
So you may not notice this, but if you notice the lights, this is actually inside an old sports stadium. So like the police are based out of what was the locker rooms and all that sort of stuff. And it's just a nice little city here. They have a newspaper which is run by one of your companion characters. They have a really cool companion character who he sort of reminds me of Garrus in a way, and he's a robotic man, and he's a detective, and he wears a long coat and a detective hat. But you see here, you have.
Hey.
You there! You need a genuine, authentic, custom-made hickory swab.
Let's see what
So
you got.
what does this guy sell? Weapons? Or just this stuff? Pretty much just baseball stuff, and then... But then he has a special edition baseball spike bat, and all that sort of stuff. You can buy wood from him, which is useful if you... Or cork's actually quite tempted to buy that, because cork's quite... difficult to come by in places. But you see they've got a lot of different shops. They've got weapon shops. They've got surplus shops, whatever. And there's a lot of things to do and a lot of people to interact with here. And there's interesting story threads going on here. There's doctors to cure your rads and all that sort of stuff. There's bars. Okay. And there's a lot of this.
Free drink. Well, pull up a chair then.
So, I don't know
You gonna sit down?
where this is going to
I'll be
lead,
looking up at
but
you.
this is just me walking past and being...
Straight away, what's nice is getting to sit down in Fallout without
Oh,
everything on the table
I'm
flying
not
off in
actually
different directions because
Sorry
of
to
the spacing on your
I'm
character.
in town looking for Henry Cook. Do you know where I might find him? Why are you looking?
Henry Cook is somebody that I killed in an earlier quest.
I haven't heard from him in a while, so I came down to check up on him.
Nice.
So, you know, that's...
Sorry, I barely know the guy. If you say so, I'll probably see you around town. Bye.
Okay.
Nice.
So, I don't know if that would lead somewhere if I said he was... maybe I do tell her. Can I tell her?
Hey, I'm not looking for a conversation.
Okay.
right now.
So, like, who knows where that might have led had I made a different choice. So that's nice, you know.
It's nice that the environment changes and she was sitting there when she wasn't
Well, it's this thing of like, did you notice how she said that and I walked up and there wasn't like a transition? The conversation wheel just appeared.
Yeah. Which I like, because normally, I mean, up until now, even in Skyrim less so, but still, it had the whole, when you start a conversation, the whole world goes on standby and zooms in on this person's face as they...
See, I think you don't have that. I mean, the infamous thing there is, you know, talking to somebody in the middle of a guard attacking, or a guard shouting, "Stop right there, criminal scum," and it zooms in on his face while his colleague is behind, raising his sword, about to kill you.
And I know they did improve that in Skyrim, so I'm not gonna...
It does feel like there's less of that here. There is definitely a second mode of talking where when a conversation gets a little bit deeper, so you can tell that once I sat down, that entered into a more traditional
conversation.
Yeah, but it's a much more natural.
But I still much prefer the interface and the aesthetic.
I think you can see that anywhere. Like if I just go up to this guy, he says this better be an emergency, and that just pops up, and I don't even have to talk to him. I can just walk away.
Nice. If anything, that was rude, but
so yeah, but that's nice, and I think it's a real good game. I think there is. You haven't seen any of it here, but there are definitely those elements of, as demonstrated by Dan's down there shuffling around there, struggling to find a path. There's elements of that Bethesda.
Bethesda charm.
But I've seen a lot of people online who have managed to get it early and aren't pressed for one, somehow. Saying that they've had bad experiences with the bad frame rate and experience with this and experience with that. I will be 100% honest here, and I will say my experiences have been as follows. I have had one hard lock crash where the game just died. No idea why, but that's what happened. And I've had one incident of... two incidences of the game just slowing to an absolute crawl and like 15 frames a second, like grim. But that was obviously, there was a lot going on, and it pepped back up right away. And I've had a few other small frame rate hits. I mean, one of the things that's happened multiple times is the Brotherhood of Steel has these vertibirds, I think they call them, flying around the city. And if they fly over raiders and raiders happen to take a pop at them, the Radiant AI system they still have in these games means that those guys will immediately turn and engage them. And I have a few times I've just been walking past a place minding my own business, and there's been a fight between a vertibird and the raiders, and the vertibird's gone down. And when the vertibird goes down, it causes a lot of nastiness. Let's see if we can just to truly finish up. Can I get up here? Because that would be really cool. And then you can see a little bit of skyline. There has to be a way out.
Right there.
This should all be relatively safe around here, though, because this is all the entrance to the city, so there's a lot of...
That was just someone's lunch. That was just made.
It's just iguana. Ooh. Okay. Don't know what that was. Let's just ignore it. These buildings might be booby traps, that's the thing.
Nice.
Never seen one of those before. That was an attempt at a running jump, but the controls failed me. And as it happened, I didn't need a running jump anyway. But you can see, you've got that sort of standard level of oh, fuck, Jesus. It's like a horror game. But you can see there's and I've been on top of that building there, for instance.
I would straight away say there's a lot more, as you say, like verticality.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. I know Vegas had the casinos, but just thinking of Fallout 3, except things like the Washington Monument. I mean, the general standard buildings you explore like this pretty much only go to the first floor, maybe
and then
second.
it would be collapsed from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of these you can get to the... Or maybe it isn't that one I've been to, but I've definitely been to the top of an absolutely fucking massive building. I will say, this is where people are talking about, I guess. Like, if you do zoom in with the sniper rifle, that looks crap. Like, what the fuck? Like, bad seams and...
Textures.
Jesus, like, good lord. Yeah. But... See, now I need to know. Now I need to know if that is better closer up. It's gotta be, right? Like, that's the thing. That's where I can absolutely understand when people are getting a bit heated about this stuff. That was probably a bit brave. And I think also there's some nice nods to the real world version of this city as well in here. The few real world locations they do. This is what I'm talking about, by the way. You know, all those buildings are sealed, but you can absolutely get in here and rummage around and find crap and and stuff like that. So that's nice. Which direction was that building in?
The other direction, I think.
No, I feel like it was. There it is. Well, again, I've just found somewhere new. So, and that sounds interesting, rationing site. 'Cause there might be some good resources. That's the difference. I would never have thought that prior to this settlement mechanic. Yeah, it's still looking pretty rough close up. I'm going to get as close to as possible and see what the deal is. Limited sprint. Hate that in games, but I understand why in this game. Yeah, see here it's starting to look...
Yeah, it does look a bit better.
It's starting to look better. But there is a lot of that. There's all like this texture here. Like, that's where I can see what people are saying.
Someone has painstakingly made that texture.
And I don't know...
No, I do see what
I don't know if this is going to be better on PC. Like on ultra settings.
I'll let you know.
But it's who else is here? Because there's definitely more than us in this fight. That'll be.
You got Geiger counts in there or something.
Yeah, it's the hard drive creaking and groaning as it records hundreds of gigs of video.
I like the Sith mutants.
Yeah, they're cool, and you know. Oh, so this is Brotherhood people just rolling around the city that they were fighting. But yeah, so you can enter that building and you can get, I believe, most of the way up to the... I don't think it was this building, but there's definitely another building somewhere. Oh yeah, it's a different location, so I think what happens is you go in, then you go up, and then when you come out on the roof.
Got it.
So yeah, that is a bit of a vertical slice, I guess, of Fallout 4 for an hour or so. I think it's pretty damn good. I haven't quite finished writing the review yet, so I'm not going to 100% commit and say what the score will be. I think I know, but I need to have a think. I've got about 10 hours before it's due. Oh, that's one other thing worth showing, just real briefly. Legendary. If you ever see an enemy with legendary in front of it, they always drop a weapon with some sort of, or a piece of armour. So it deals 10 points cryo damage and will freeze targets on critical hits.
Got it.
That's actually really fucking good. So I might see what I can do with it, adjusting that one a bit. So yeah, that is Fallout 4. And you have
looking forward to
2 days to go until you can play it.
Yes, I do.
Your last big game before your child arrives.
Yes, and I was about to say unfortunately, but that sounds probably a bit ungrateful. But yeah, I've got this weekend booked off with another half.
Yeah,
so
told me in advance.
Yes.
Well, I think you're gonna have a great time of it. Like I say, I'm 60, 70 hours deep, and it's definitely 60, probably closer to 70, and
art.
And feeling pretty good about it. So there you go.
I think it looks really good. Looking forward to playing it.
Well, thank you so much for joining me.
No problem.
We'll have to get you back for more of these. I'm
sure. Give it a shout anytime, maybe down the road.
Yeah, we'll have to maybe if people enjoy this, we'll have to try and get our asses into
Oh,
get our
God.
podcast. or
People
something.
enjoying me. Not sure.
But yeah, so that's Fallout 4. That is out on the 10th, which is 2 days from this recording and 1 day from when you'll be hearing this if you watch it on the day it goes up. And that's about it. So until next time, guys, we'll see ya.
Thank you very much.
Fuck my life.